Okay, so I am going to go ahead and record this so you're aware of it. Okay, so number 1, write your slope and write your y-intercept. So off to the side of equation 1, write your slope and your y-intercept, please. Okay, so if I'm looking at y equals x minus 1, the slope of this line is 1. The y-intercept is 0, negative 1. So now we can graph that. So I'm going to go down negative 1 on the y-axis. And then I have a slope of 1, so I'm going to go up 1, right 1. Now, I highly suggest that you keep doing that rate of change all the way across your paper so that you get the straight line correct. So I'm just going to go up 1, right 1. You do not have to, and on Math Excel you won't, because all you need is 2 points and it connects it for you. And then I'm going to use my straight edge. Everybody has some form of straight edge at their table. And there's my equation of my first line. Antonio, question? Okay. Okay. The second equation. I'm going to do these different ways. This first one, I'm going to solve for y. So Cornelius, I'm going to change this to slope-intercept by subtracting 2x. So I would get y equals negative 2x plus 2, which is going to give me a slope of negative 2 and a y-intercept 0, 2. So one of my lines I'm going to graph in orange and pink so you'll be able to tell the difference between them. Okay? Okay, so my y-intercept is at 2. So I'm going to go up 2 and put a point. And then my slope is negative 2, so I'm going to go down 2, right 1. And I'm going to keep that pattern, down 2, right 1. And then I'm going to take my straight edge and connect my points.
So our objective is to get it go straight?
They're lines, they are straight lines.
No.
Okay, now, we have 2 equations. We've graphed those 2 equations. I still do not have an answer. Does anybody know where the answer is? It's where they intersect. So you have to tell me that your answer is 0, no, wait a minute, excuse me, is 1, 0. There is your answer. Your answer to a system of equations will always be an ordered pair. So when you get to Math Excel and you say, this won't accept my answer, it keeps marking it wrong, I'm going to say it's because you don't have an ordered pair. Okay, number 2. Y equals 1/2 x plus 3 and y equals x plus 4. Write down your 2 equations. Right next to those 2 equations, you are to tell me what the slope and the y-intercept is of each one. By now, If you cannot look at something in point slope and tell me the slope and the y-intercept, you should be after school every day. Because you're not going to make it in this class if you cannot just do slope-intercept. So you should off to the side be able to show me what the slope is, what the y-intercept is on this graph. Slope, y-intercept. If you don't want to graph it because you're not for sure yet, then that's fine. Well, you could at least take a guess at what the slope of y-intercept is. However you want to do it. If you don't want those, then I'll just take them back. Yes? Graph each one. Yep. Okay, so if I look at the first equation, y equals 1/2 x plus 3, Bailey, what's my slope? What's your y-intercept? So if I graph that, I'm going to do what? Okay, and I choose to keep going with that up 1/2, just so I know I get my straight line. You don't have to if you don't need to. Okay, number 2, Zach, what's your slope? 1. And what's your y-intercept? Okay, how do I graph that? Okay, so I start at 0,4 and then I have a slope of 1. How do I graph that? Up 1/1. So I'm going to connect those points. And then your answer is where they intersect, which is right here. You have to be very careful about that. That's why I said Math Excel's good, because it's going to be careful for you. Okay? But what's your answer here? -2, 2. Okay? What does that mean? That means that if I put -2 and 2 in for my x and y, it would make both of these equations true statements. Okay? You're finding the order pair that would make them true, or where they intersect. Okay, number 3. We have y equals -1/3 x minus 1. And we have x minus 2y equals 2. Okay, Rico, what's the slope of the first equation? What's your y-intercept? 0, 0, 0, -1. Okay, quit listening to everybody else. You know what it is. Okay, how do I graph it? Okay, so I'm going to go down -1 on my y-axis, and then how do I graph a slope of -1/3? Yep. Okay, so if I put the negative with the 1, I go down 1 and right 3. Could I put the negative with the 3? Yes, so in that case I would go up 1, left 3. Just depends on how you look at it. Okay, now the second equation is in standard form, so I'm going to do the cover-up method this way. Because I showed you both ways to do it. You can choose which way's better. If you are graphing it, usually the cover-up method is easier. Okay? Because it's less chance of you making a mistake. So if I do the cover-up method, like what's up here under standard form, I'm going to cover up the negative 2y. What is x? 2. It says x equals 2. So my x-intercept is 2, 0. You kind of remember the cover-up method? Most of you found it pretty easy. If I cover up the x, I'm going to get negative 2y equals 2. So I'm going to divide by negative 2, and I get y equals 2 divided by negative 2 is negative 1. So my y-intercept is at 0, negative 1. So now I'm going to graph my x-intercept at 2, 0. So that's right 2 on the x-axis. And 0, negative 1 on my y-axis. And then I'm going to connect those 2 points. And you're going to tell me, where do they intersect? What is the answer to this problem? Where do our 2 lines intersect? 0, negative 1. Yes, whoever said that. Liz. 0, negative 1. Questions on those systems? The better you are at graphing, the easier today will be. And tomorrow, because we're going to graph tomorrow also. Okay, so number 4. Y equals negative 3x plus 7, and then y minus 3 equals negative quantity x plus 4. So this is one that's in slope-intercept and then point-slope. So off to the side, slope, y-intercept for the first equation. Second one, slope and point. Yes, she is? Sure. Janisha. Mm-hmm. Okay, number 4, the first equation. What is your slope? -3. Your y-intercept? 0.7. So when I graph that, I'm going to go up 7 on my y-axis, and then I'm going to go down 3 and right 1. And I'm going to keep that pattern. So down 3, right 1. Okay, the second equation's in point slope. What is your slope of the second equation? So what's the number that's in front of this parenthesis right here? -1. Now, I also get an ordered pair. What is the ordered pair that this equation will give me? -4, +3. It's the opposite values. Okay, the x, there's a 4 with the x, the opposite of 4 is -4. There's a -3 with the y, the opposite of -3 is 3. So on my graph, I'm going to go left -4 and up 3. Left 4, up 3. And then a slope of -1, which is going to be down 1, right 1. And I'm going to keep going down 1, right 1. Okay, your answer is right here where they intersect, which is what point? Right, your ordered pair. It is 4, -5. Okay, these special cases are not vertical and horizontal lines. These are special cases related to systems. Okay? So just so you know, don't think that these are going to be just vertical and horizontal lines. They are not. Okay, so the first one we'll do y plus 3 equals 3, quantity x minus 1. And then we'll do 3x minus y equals 6. So go ahead and you should be able to write your slope and your point for the first one. You should be able to, at this point, either do cover-up method, where you find your x and y intercept, or you solve for y. It's your choice which way you choose to do that. Ask questions if confused about something or need help with something. State your slope and your or your slope and your point for the first one. That's your slope and your point for the two. Okay. remember your point, x comes first and then y, right? Okay, so here's backwards. Okay, so if I look at point slope, your slope on your first equation is 3, and the point 1, negative 3. So I'm going to go right 1, down 3, and then I have a slope of 3. How do I do a slope of 3? Up 3, right 1. Okay, number 2, or the second equation. I'm going to do the cover-up method. Okay, again, you can, I'll do it both ways if you'd like me to. So if I cover this up, I'm going to have 3x equals 6, x equals 2. So my x-intercept is 2, 0. If I look at the other way, I get negative y equals 6. So if I divide by negative 1, I'm going to get y equals negative 6. So my y-intercept is 0, negative 6. Okay, so I'm going to be 2, 0, and I'm going to get 0, negative 6. What do you notice about those two lines? They are the same line. Does anybody know what that's called when you have the same line? Not on undefined.
Linear?
Nope. All reals. So it's all reals on, and then you just choose one of your equations. I just choose the one that's the easiest to write. So I'm going to say all reals, or you can write out the word all reals, but I'm telling you Math Excel will use that symbol on that equation. It also has a mathematical term that you should maybe remember from geometry. I don't know, but it also comes up on Math Excel. Two lines that are the graph as the exact same line are called coinciding lines. Coinciding, they're the same line. Okay, and the last graph that we are going to look at this is also another under special case, yes. So go ahead and graph those two equations. I'm coming around that way. That one's right. This one is not. So you either solve it for y or you cover it up. Oh. Now you have to do that. Yeah. I will get Okay, so the slope of the first one is what, Zach?
Are these notes or activities?
We haven't got to the activity yet. The slope is 1/2. The y-intercept is 0.3. So I'm going to go up 3, and then I'm going to go up 1, right 2. Okay, the second equation, how do you want to solve that? You want to solve for y or you want to do cover up?
Cover up.
Okay, cover up. If I cover this up, I would have x equals 8. So my x-intercept is 8, 0. If I cover up the x, I'm going to divide by -2, and I get y equals -4. So my y-intercept is 0, -4. So 8 on my x-axis, -4 on my y-axis.
These are popsicles.
They're unused popsicle sticks. Okay, what do I notice about these two? Why is this a special case? They don't intersect, they're parallel, so your answer will be no solution, a circle with the line through it, or the word no solution.